Rich, you can call the meeting to order.
Thank you. Okay, it is now 3:06 on Wednesday, 27th of April, 2022. And this is the Water Valley Board, Select Board Regular Board Meeting. I am the chair, Rich Rita, and here with me today is Bob Freeze, member. And so we have a quorum. I understand the vice chair, Margaret Khan, will be along presently. So shall we just move along and do our business? Privilege of the floor? None. Let me just skip the approval of minutes until Margaret arrives. Then she has something. Go right to financial update.
You have the report in front of you. We are 21% through the year. None of the departments, we did do kind of a scan of line items. Do you have anything that you want to highlight, Steve?
Yeah, I have just a couple of points of interest. First and foremost, revenues. We're seeing some revenues in the fire miscellaneous line that's associated with the EMT class that's currently going on. We have 8 or so students in that class right now. I mentioned that because I inquired with Dave and Pat about the uptick in police and fire overtime that are hitting our expense lines. And a lot of that overtime is associated with backfilling the students who are in that class right now, which are to Zach and
Jeff is teaching it. So
Zach and Jeff are teaching. So
schedule wise, it's changed now. And right here, something happened. So it's kind of what it's supposed to be.
yeah. So some of those revenues that we're seeing from that are offsetting expense in the OT line, which is good. Okay. We had an unexpected generator repair that we're hitting our town buildings line. Not significant, about $1,400, right, Dylan, or so. And that was pretty much a consumable to that generator. Correct me if I'm wrong. Heat pump, I believe.
I was a water pump.
A water pump. Then we had medical supplies and equipment is trending high, and that, according to Dave, is associated with some end of ski season replenishment for some of our supplies. There's a warm zone kit that we keep supplies in that had some expired items that we needed to replenish there. Some OT trending high in wastewater. Dylan gave me a pretty comprehensive report on why that's the case, and it's really primarily due to the run times, the increase in run times that we're experiencing. Seems like it's gone up 5% or so year over year for the past 3 years, and that's not changing in 2022. We have a letter in front of you that illustrates an increase of 7.263% for our tipping fees. That will take effect May 1st, which will calculate to approximately a $3,000 uptick in that line for the year.
So did we anticipate that there would be an increase or the budget?
We budgeted slightly higher than last year. When I looked at it, it looks like we're going to be pretty much spot on. We've got about 10 tons plus or minus that we're doing right now.
Oh,
Is
so-
that what you got?
So the increase in budget will.
The increase in budget looks like it's going to cover it. From my perspective, we've used approximately 278 tons so far. We average around 850, so we're looking at another 572 tons at the new rate. That means we're going to anticipated to spend 41,175 for the rest of the year, and we've got 42,075 left. So we're within 1,900. So that gives us about 12 tons to play with. So but it's very close. If we have a busy summer, it's going to overspend.
And then
Right now for the quarter, we're for the last couple of months, we're tracking within 5 tons.
Yeah. Yeah, we're doing well for the ski season. I'm just concerned if the summer season picks up.
Then the final line that, that's been overextended, is a town meeting expense line in executive. And that was primarily associated with, the fact that we asked our AV partner to help out with the school meeting as well this year. And we put that expense, into that line, just something that we're gonna obviously prepare for 22, if we want to continue, or 23, if we want to continue supporting the school, with any needs around, their annual meeting.
It's something we can
It's
discuss.
an extra.
So,
And, outside of that, the town revaluation, we'll see a little more expense in that line, primarily because of the rental. That
We didn't budget for this or some of the setup.
the town. for the equipment.
We just budgeted the contract.
So is that started?
They've done the pickups. So the building, all the building permit pickups are complete, and they're gonna start the actual reval next week.
So how many people are there?
Uh,
So people,
I think they're gonna have three.
for your equipment. Anything else jumping out about it, you guys?
I don't think everything. Nope. All right. Let us then move on to department head reports. Dylan?
Well, cricket man. We had Penta, who was on plant today, that's who's doing our work with bypass line, to get around the water reactors. They'll be here today and tomorrow, just to get the bypass line installed. So that way we can have the inspection done and still be online, down multiple days on top of that. On top of that, mass tank was also out, that's the people that are doing the tank inspection, probably know the tanks. The guy that sent that was more so just on a measurement, take pictures, see if anything really was out more. So he's gonna take all that back, show their fabrication requirement, and then their inspection dates make what we want. Things. Other than that, we get 30% basis of design report. I believe that was sent to me. Packet. Yes. Up to 200. Majority of that is permit though. And which is, a step in the right direction. They got it done earlier than they said they would, which is always nice. And let's move this straight along into alternative investigation.
And they gave us, what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks to look through this, and then we'll
Submitting.
submit any questions that we have or concerns that we have, so we'll be getting together in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, and then other than that, on the water side, we can talk about that a little bit. The electrician showed up at well house number 2. They started doing some of the work inside of that, installing some new cabinets, installing some new conduit. So probably starting with. That's all I have.
you have the tentative dates for visiting other plants?
Not yet, I wanted to talk about that today. It'll be post May 16th when Rich gets back, so I'm thinking the third week of May, we'll start calling them and set those up.
So where do we stand now on the repairs of the tanks? In terms of cost?
I'm not sure.
Still not sure if they gotta get any specs.
Yeah, that's gonna be the question. Is once they get in, and look at them, yeah, they can kind of go from there and see. Yeah,
So I think the guy that came up today was more of get them some information before they send the inspection team up.
Right.
And then when the inspection team comes, they'll gather more information. Probably look at the tanks in more detail, and then they will go back, I would imagine, and come up with what their options are. And then we will get a price. So the May 4th visit, we won't get any pricing from that.
Right, that's just gonna tell us the condition of the fence.
And whether or not they can fix it.
Right.
Or whether they have to. So I think we're probably still 2.5 or 3 weeks out before we have enough.
It's gonna be tight.
Yeah, it's gonna be, but and we have communicated that to them that July 1st is our date from our perspective.
And they did reply that
And
that's doable
they
in this age of
keep saying.
labor shortages and supply chain disruptions.
They keep saying that they understand that they can get it fixed, so we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's really gonna hinge on the parts that it's gonna hinge on what they find. Sure. When they do the inspection, depending on how bad it is. Then how quickly we turn around and make a decision on what they tell us.
Right.
And I think we will need a special meeting the day of or the day after we get the numbers so that we can talk to you about that and get a decision of how to move forward. We'll have to do that relatively quick.
Okay. And you're looking at 2 to 3 weeks out. from
Yeah,
today
2 to
for that.
3 weeks.
We're at May 4th. Just.
May 4th, and I would give them probably another week, so the May 11th timeframe, you can still be fine.
Yeah, I would be, but that's on my two.
So we'll find out when Margaret's going, because I know she had selected dates that she was going to be gone as well. So
Okay.
that's the only thing that's I want to make sure of. What about the algae bloom? Is it still going?
Oh, yeah. It's,
But can you explain why that's a good thing?
sure. So if you go up to the transfer station. Soon, on a sunny day in particular, you have to look like something dumped green paint. It's yeah.
It's St. Patrick's Day.
That's right. The only thing that I can think of that caused it earlier is that we had a lot of rain early. It was warm rain as opposed to 30-degree days. It does 30-degree days with that cold rain. The more additional warm water we get, the faster we lose turnover. The biological activity takes off faster. So that in tandem with the magnesium hydroxide, the addition we're adding to it, the algae is really, yeah. So it's good because the algae will actually consume ammonia, which if we're able to keep the algae reduced for around 100 milligrams per year or so throughout until July, there's a good chance we might not have to do breakpoint coefficient in the facility because we'll have bylaw.
Which would be
That'd be a godsend.
that would-
On top of the extrication that we get, it might, you know, luckily with the situation where it might actually happen this year. Fingers crossed, of course, can't control, really no control, over it, unfortunately. See if it carries through.
Okay. So it's not a bad thing, and it may be a very good thing.
Oh, yeah, it's good.
It's better than usual.
Yeah.
I mean, a bad thing or a very bad thing.
Jeez, it's nice. isn't it?
Butcher every single-
Anything else, sir?
No, that's all.
Good. Jim?
Sure. Well, I'll start off with the big thing. We had a water main break on Stone Mountain Road, which is by my count, I believe, since I've been here 12 up in that area. And it started off, a suspicious wet spot in the pavement and kept watching it and it didn't seem to get worse, but it was trickling up through the pavement and we cut the pavement away and we were able to get a positive chlorine residual on it, so we knew it wasn't groundwater, so we had an issue. And what it was it was a section of pipe that was overly bedded in sand this time. I would say it was on both sides of the break. The sand layers, both top and bottom, were really good, except in the middle, there was a rock about this big that was right on the pipe, and that's right. So there's a rock that should have been very back there, I'm assuming. But at any rate, we got that fixed. We did have a small culvert collapse off of one of the drop inlets at the end of the bridge over Snow's Brook Road. That was in the bank, and we fixed that today. So we took care of that, and garbage truck is down at Mac being repaired. We kept getting a dashboard light, and we were able to figure out that it was a sensor on the that controls the depth side of things. That's the additive that you have to use for all the emissions now and everything. And what it does is it tries to shut the truck down. So we were able to get it to Manchester, and hopefully we'll have that back Friday afternoon, if not Saturday. So we won't be picking up until Monday. We do have 3 dumpsters that we can swap out for some of the majors if they get into an overflow situation.
Yeah, I think the announcement at the community meeting was first, when was this week?
Up at the mountain.
But it was up at the mountain.
Yeah.
So we should be okay as far as the businesses.
Quiet.
Down there. Yeah, it's quiet. So.
It's a simple fix. It's just a matter of getting the part. That's everything.
Well, and it's also that we have to take it out of town.
Yeah.
Where do you take it to?
Manchester Mac. And that was on the warranty, which was a good thing.
Jim, that drop in that you fixed, was that Valley Road or Snow's Brook?
That was Valley Road.
Yeah, okay.
Uh,
You said Snow's
Just
Brook.
past Snow's Brook.
I just
On
wanted-
Valley Road, okay,
Oh,
that's what
on
that,
Valley
that's
Road,
what
just
the,
past,
I was
yes,
gonna ask
that's
what
what
the-
the tape
the
was.
tape
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, basically what it was for whatever reason, when those drop inlets were put in, back when they reconstructed the road, they ran HDPE culvert. And whether they ran out or not, I don't know, but they attached CMB or metal culvert to the end of that. And that's what brought it out. So we just replaced it with light material. Once we get the grass growing, we'll know.
All right, any questions?
Nope. Chief, we're all good on that side. No, we're in deep dive of training right now. Our part-timer from November should be, he's out today. He's on his last couple of weeks. Norikio graduated Friday, so he's already out. His first shift back is Monday. Cody's will be on his own in 2 weeks too, so we should be really good. We're back to our fire EMS. We're back to our monthly trainings outside again, which is nice. We did some pump training and hooked up to a hydrant the other day and simulated calls. We try to do that once a month on Wednesday nights. So community stuff at the school still going good. We're going to try to up that, whether it be coffee with a cop or we talked about, or can't do a Friday social because we don't know where that would go, but like a Wednesday night, like when we're in our training, maybe an hour before the training, the town can come and kind of do like the Citizens Academy coffee with a cop mixture. So we'll try to do that.
Great. Thank you.
Nope. Steve?
Last week, we had what I would consider a couple of really productive days in the office with spring cleaning. We were able to go up into the Bellevue, the attic of the town hall and take care of a lot of documents that were aging. So getting current up there, getting clean and organized up there. Then the subsequent day kind of transcended down into the administrative offices of town hall where, you know, we were able to pick up some of the documents and shuffle them back upstairs and then brainstorm a little bit about how we want to make our office a little more electronic than so paper intensive. So we've got emails out to the assessing company right now to kind of start brainstorming around how we could potentially get all of our deeds electronified into the Avatar database and get rid of those two honking filing cabinets that are on the landing of the stairwell if you're going down the stairs. From a redundancy standpoint, and I think it makes sense. And it's also, if we're able to integrate those documents into Avatar the way that we potentially could, it would make it very user friendly to the property owners as well to get some more information online than they can today.
Yeah, and we can hopefully link to the GIS system, so that you got a one-stop shop. You just go to the map, you click on your property and your deed comes up, pictures, building permits, all kinds of stuff could potentially be on. That's what 21st century.
And also part of that follow-up day, Judy and I, did some cleaning in her office, painting in my office and hers as well. We spoke about taking our accounts payable process, which is currently very paper intensive, and getting that into more of an electronic system where we're actually scanning emails into QuickBooks, or scanning invoices into QuickBooks rather than putting them into a filing cabinet, which, we've got plans in place to start that soon.
Good, I think that was one of the items we talked about in workshop. Yeah,
Yep, and a little more into, I think my role, I've had time now to kind of analyze a lot of our systems and processes that we're doing, and speaking with Patrick and Dave, a big part of the admin support that we do provide is in public safety. And we're trying to incorporate different software that we're bringing into the environment, CSI and EOS, and also incorporate the administrative support that the town admin provide, and potentially administrative support from public safety personnel to figure out, just a good system that makes a little more logical sense than what we're doing right now. So we're going to meet in mid-May and start to talk about, does it make sense for, Sharon, for example, an admin to handle, these certain public safety tasks, or does it make more sense for that to be shuffled over into the public safety world? And then how can these two new softwares help support us with all of the admin work that we do provide public safety? So that meeting's set for mid-May, and there'll be more to come there.
okay. Good, yeah, it was a good action item from the strategic workshop, see how much can be shifted to technical side.
Yeah.
Then see if we still need it.
And then once
a body.
especially once we get the assessment stuff, if we can digitize all that information, then we can start looking at the cloud. We're also looking at the cloud solutions for the network. That will help make our operation more affordable. So,
Are the assessors taking up any of our time, administrative time? Are they on their own pretty much?
they were a little intensive up front, but I think we're pretty much finished with. We'll have some day-to-day support, answering questions or whatever, but they're pretty much on their own when they're doing the measurement listing. We'll
Sharon
have,
had a good day with that,
yeah,
a good full day.
Yeah.
But besides that, it's been.
yeah, it's been pretty good. And then once they start doing, once there'll be a big mailing when we send out the new value notices. And then we may have to help them, but I think they'll do the majority of the work on scheduling meetings and just making sure people go downstairs, they connect. They're pretty self-contained though.
Did they do it the last time, same firm?
No, it's a new firm and they seem to be much better from our initial interactions.
Where are they from?
Whitney,
They had a phone.
yeah, they're just south of Laconia. North Whitney. But Stephen Hamilton, who did he?
Yeah.
That was before
It
Bob
was
started.
before, no, he was very impressive.
Stephen Hamilton was the director of the municipal side of Department of Revenue Administration for 10 or 15 years. He's very experienced and I've worked with him basically since I've been in the state.
Looks like their main office Bob's in Salem,
Oh, so
but I think they have a couple of.
I think they have some.
One of the things we had, Mark, you and I talked about is going, digitizing old files to get rid of a lot of those paper files,
Well, that's the first step of that
Well,
is the
it's
assessing
taking
files.
care of the
And
current.
then we'll move on to others. We also have a schedule for the end of May, right here. We also have a schedule for the end of May, for, the arrival of our plan printer. That's also a scanner.
Right.
So concurrently, we'll be taking all the old building plans and we'll be digitizing those. So that'll get rid of those flat files.
You planning to do it yourself or?
We'll look at, see how difficult it is. But I think that's something that we can take a tour a day or something, run 20 plans through. I don't think it would take too long for us to do it. We'll see. I haven't experienced that, so I don't really know how intense it is.
Okay, we're running through Margaret, department heads. And all we've done prior to that, is financial updates. So any questions you had on financial update or? No. Anything? Good,
And
okay.
then on the
Rec,
rec,
okay,
we have, they're in shutdown mode this week. They'll be finishing the floor over at the gym. So they're very limited in their operations during the school vacation week. We have the community cleanup day is in our notices in your packet. That's the next big thing we have. I talked to Brooke and she's doing very well. I think she has one position left in her summer camp staff in boats and everything to fill. So she's, and I think she's already interviewed. I just think she has to make the offer. They had, Tyler and Brooke had a Zoom meeting with Marvin Weinberger about the trail system yesterday. I did not get a report on that yet, but I'll see how that
all right,
went.
maybe they're still talking.
Uh,
Maybe they're still talking.
Well, they may be still talking, but they were talking about the
Right.
Subaru grant
Brand,
potential and a couple of other things for the loop trail, so.
okay,
But other than that, I think things are going well. The revenue sheet, they're doing very well with their summer camp numbers. That's what the big
front loaders,
revenues
right.
are in rec. So,
Yeah, Wing, Soar, and Peak have already eclipsed their budget in terms of income. And then Hawk is about 60% collected. And the other one, Mark, Summit.
so it's in buildings, parks, and parks.
Yeah, Summit's about 65% collected.
Any movement on the gazebo repair?
No, she had not heard anything that Brooks on vacation for about a week. I'll talk to Tyler when I get back. We'll make sure, but there was no change in the status of that. Brooke did have an opportunity to talk to the facilities manager from the SAU.
Right.
They've coordinated. So he's gonna check contractor schedules. He's aware of the dates for summer camps and says that he'll work around the summer camp programs. So we can see anything at the present time that's gonna cause conflict between the siding project and summer camp.
Someone told. I guess the plan there was to present the school board with a proposal at their next meeting in May. so that they can then approve it and then move right into the signing. Signing side. Okay. Anybody have any questions on that or any other items?
No.
Okay, why don't we bounce back up then to approval of minutes? Has Sharon gone to them or is she still?
She wasn't here today, so the
Okay,
edits
so-
that you sent in
Right.
by email
Right.
have not been.
Okay,
made.
well, we'll just defer it.
So we'll refer till next.
Next meeting, okay. Let's see, calendar review. So on calendar review, our next scheduled meeting is, should be the 11th of May. There's now, I guess, 2, 3 complicating factors. One is the need to meet to discuss status of the road repair project. Potentially the need to meet to talk about the repair or replacement on the nitrogen, ammonia tanks at the treatment facility, wastewater treatment facility. And I will be out of town on the 11th of May. Will not be returning until the late on the 16th. So all those are at play. Whether we want to have 1 meeting or 2 meetings or how we want to do this, but your schedules might be like, I guess we'll have to do something next week, it sounds like.
We would like, yes, Jim
For
and
the
I are
road.
supposed to talk to the engineer on Monday on the road project. We'd like to have
Special meeting on
a special meeting sometime next week.
After Monday.
After Monday, so probably Wednesday by the time we get the numbers together for you, either Wednesday or Thursday. But that would be Bob and Margaret.
right, whatever you guys
And then-
want to work out.
I'm here.
Okay.
You're not here on the fourth?
No, I'm leaving Tuesday. I mean, Monday the 2nd.
So, we'll have that conversation and I'll keep you informed. I will be out of town, but we can set up a meeting by Tuesday. So,
You may want to consider, if the tank folks are coming on the 4th, if they want to consider the 5th, or maybe
Yeah.
do 2.
I don't think we'll get the.
Oh,
numbers
that's right,
from the
take at
tank
least a week.
people until the following week,
Week, gotcha, okay.
which would be another special
Alright.
meeting because Rich would be here.
Alright.
But then we could have us, and these should take, a half an hour, 45 minutes.
Well, what you could do is have your regularly scheduled meeting on the 11th. And make that part of it, instead of having a special meeting, and then a regular meeting, 3 weeks in a
Well,
row.
but the only problem with that
Right.
is here in the presentation that she wants to do on the site plan. We asked her about the unavailability.
Yeah.
And do you want that to happen with you not here? She just
I'm-
wanted you to be
I know she wanted me to be here, but I don't want to put everybody through 3 meetings, one every week.
Is this the 18th?
No, well, the
Well, the 11th is
our
regularly scheduled, and I was going
regular
to propose we move it to the 18th. So that I could attend that meeting, but if you're gonna meet the week of the 11th, unless you want to wait, but we really don't want to wait on to get the answer back
No,
to
we
the 10
need to,
people.
the tanks
So we
are.
have regular meeting.
I don't have a problem with a couple of half-hour meetings and then have our next one on the 18th.
Okay, it's, well, whatever you guys do.
Regular meeting on the 18th.
Regular meeting on the 18th, and then you
Okay,
guys
then
do
all
whatever you
three of
need to
you-
do, right?
All right,
Are you out next week? Is that what you said?
I'm out next week.
So you need to let your.
No, we've already.
No, I've already
we've
communicated with her and asked her
asked her if she is available.
The 18th, and she said she would be if I gave her a cup of coffee.
Well,
I haven't answered her yet.
so we will be in touch with you soon after Monday morning.
All right, planning board on the 12th. And I'd like to schedule a joint meeting with the school board. I had a meeting with Mike Fergal, Mark and I did, and discussed a number of things, and we thought that, and Mike agreed, that it would be good perhaps to have quarterly meetings with the school board. And so I told him that he gave us a quick update of his schedule. It looks like the last couple of weeks in May is good for him. But he'd like, I think, some dates from us so that he can check with Tim and Mike Bell on the school board.
So you have a meeting already scheduled for the 25th. So you could do a joint meeting with them first and then do your regular meeting on the 25th.
Gosh, we're gonna have a meeting on the 18th and again on the 25th.
Oh, well, that's right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we can move it. Then that would make your meeting the first meeting in June. So, yeah, you could,
The other possibility is to join school one. On Thursday afternoon.
is it the 19th?
I have it as the 19th at 4 o'clock. Yeah, we did mention that. He seemed to, I think Mike thought it'd be better, just less work for them. Actually, if we hosted it, only because of the public notice and all that. Has to go along with it. But we have to do.
So do you want to propose something like the first, or you could move your June meetings to 1 and 15 if you want. That would give you 2 weeks after the 18th.
What would the date be?
It would be June 1st
For the joint meeting.
for the
Joint meeting
and your
Regular
regular
meeting,
meeting. So do
right.
a 2 o'clock joint meeting. Your regular.
I don't recall what dates in June you referred. I think it was early June. but
It was early
It was, we can check. 2 p.m.
Is an hour enough time?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, there's one major topic that we need to resolve. Memorandum of understanding and usage for the rec department.
Yeah, that's gonna be very important because their numbers that they're projecting for next year are actually increasing. They're going from 55 to 58. So we were kind of hoping that it was not dropping off.
So to sum it all up, there's a potential for a couple short special meetings over the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
For the 2 projects, and then we'll have our next regular meeting on the 18th of May at 3, and then we'll have a joint with the conditional on their acceptance meeting with the school board at 2 before our regular meeting on the 1st of June, and then we'll have our next regularly scheduled meeting on the 15th. Or we can just wait and see whether we want to do the 15th.
First, and then
15th. No, I said the 15th, we can either wait and see if we want to do it then and move
yeah, or
back
move
on the
it back
regular
on the
schedule.
regulars.
Right, so let's just leave that as a question mark, because who knows whatever things
Things will come up.
will come up, so. And for the select board, Mark, would you contact Mike and Virgil and see if that works? Okay. Okay, on the review. New business, road project bid results. If you want to talk about that and
I don't think we need to talk about it. We're not recommending you take any action right now.
Right.
We just want to explain what the situation is, and what we'll be talking to Josh McAllister about next Monday.
Right, because we have a parent bidder.
Right.
But
Right.
the bids, we haven't got the analysis of the bids as of yet.
We want to
Okay.
make sure that everything that they did was correct.
correct, I understand. Okay, so then we're not talking about a particular company.
That's right. But right now, our parent, the major issue that we're having right now before this analysis is complete is that the apparent low bidder is higher than our available budget. And I did a summary sheet for you.
Almost $250,000, right?
Yeah,
We're able to cut it down,
comes out to, the apparent low bidder is 2,181,000.
right?
And we have, if we use all of the remaining town entrance project monies and all the remaining town engineering monies, we have 1,939,000.
So is that allowable to use those? Legally?
Well, the 1/3, yes, because there are construction engineering costs that we can use for the engineering. And there's the 113 that was remaining was for paving, so
We just held that over.
we just held it. So we can use both of those. My concern in using both of those is it uses all of our available monies for any design work that we want to try to complete this year to put a road repair project on the warrant for 23. We wouldn't have a budget. We could put a lump sum in there, but we wouldn't have a project to tell town meetings that we're going to build. So we'd have to put the engineering money in that request, authorization request. So
Is there a possibility on this to go back to the original plan and take off the add-on?
well,
There's, well, I'm not quite sure. Good question. There's several things that we want to discuss with the engineers. Our goal would be obviously to, get the low bidder to where our budget is and complete the project. That would be goal number one. Goal number two, I think we could talk about paring it back a little bit if we needed to.
take a section out
So I think there are some viable alternatives that we could talk to the engineers and and talk to the contractor once we give them the award. So I think,
and I think.
I'm not pessimistic.
Yeah, and I think we need to know from you if one of the options that we could look at is actually changing the specifications in the bid. If we need to know that the bid allows us to do that. So sometimes bids are set out that if there's any modification to the project before the project is awarded, then everybody has to be given an opportunity to bid on.
Correct.
Right. But sometimes there's language, and I just don't know from the engineer what we specifically said. But sometimes it says that we will get a low bidder and that we reserve the right to negotiate changes with that low bidder. So that's one of the main things we want to verify is what was the wording. We'll find that out on Monday. But I need to just kind of hold you, I don't need a vote. Would you be okay that we could take those specifications and find money saving changes that we could make that still give us the ability to pay everything that we were going to, just maybe do less base work or other.
What about shortening it to Boulder Path?
Oh, we could, that's one of the things.
That's one of the alternatives.
Seems like that's a logical
Yeah,
place. to
that
cut
there
it
is
off.
a place we can, yeah.
And
We could
or you
even-
can do things like
Also,
put on the base, but don't put the cover on this year, something like that.
That's possible.
yeah, Osceola Road would be another natural break that we could draw the line. The only, we kind of wanted to do this in conjunction with the work that's being done at Deborah Way with Green Peak.
It seems like it would be kind of good to keep some engineering money
I
available
really would like to do that.
for next year's warrant.
Yeah. But I really would like to have the next step. Jim and I have talked about keeping the momentum going and really wanting to have that next project because I think we all heard that the town wants us
Yeah.
to keep doing work. So I think that's a good idea.
And is it logical to say that the primary driver across all those bids and why there's such an elevated trucking?
Yeah, trucking costs and obviously the asphalt costs are what's driving.
The diesels.
Diesel, it's a oil byproduct, so we're good.
there's a 12.5% difference, and we're able to get it down to about 8% difference if we assume some of the engineering
And I think, yeah,
from HEB. So we're talking about potentially trying to find 8% worth of work to modify.
and I think that whatever number we get, we should settle on an escalator ourselves and seek an authorization that's something above that. Only because I think the financial situation is gonna be kind of fluid even
Maybe
through
next town
next
meeting.
year. Yeah, next town meeting, let's say that he says, he gives us an engineering estimate of $1.5 million or something. We may want to be at 6 or more than 7 in there, just to have some flexibility, because we can carry it over because of the way we work the projects, we just carry it over
Into the
into
next
the
road
next road project.
Well, this was 12.5% below the low bid.
That's right.
The estimate that.
That's right.
The engineers came up with.
Yeah.
Anyone who looked at what the high bidder.
Yeah,
it was-
the high bidder
You don't even
was,
want to look at it.
Yeah, well, I did, but it's right in front
those
of me.
numbers are right there, so.
So, I mean,
Okay, so,
Yeah.
we'll talk to him on Monday and, we'll keep going forward.
lien payment abatement,
Yeah, it's a $20 abatement,
pass it around.
And again, you're able to approve. these.
I'm approving them, but you gotta sign.
Alrighty.
And then we also, it's kind of related to this as your work as assessors. Each year when we get, Bob, we receive usually in late January or early February, we receive the town's equalization ratio number from the state of New Hampshire. And that basically tells us, you know, where sales have gone compared to our assessed values. There's a certification sheet that goes with that. And we did not give that to you, to the board back in February, the first meeting of February this year. And we need you guys to sign this as the certification that DRA sent us.
On the equalization.
That's the one that said we were at 71.
71. This will fix it. Alrighty. Signing this, we can move into the strategic plan workshop. No,
Yeah, we reviewed, I typed this up, Steve and I had an opportunity to look through talk about them. It was more so just to have a record of the types of things we talked about. It wasn't meant to be a real detailed list in any way. I wanted to make sure that we covered the major points that you might have had in your notes. And you can continue to look at it, and if you think of something you want us to add or whatever, but my plan would be to keep referring back to this, like in department head meetings, or as we just talked about with the IT stuff, you know, we're doing the things on these lists, and trying to address those.
I mean, the question I had was, should we actually append to this a short action item
Sure, we can,
list and maybe even try to prioritize it?
yeah, if you would like to do that, sure.
What do you guys think?
Yes. Yes. I mean, I think, again, it's something that needs to be shared with the general public once we,
Okay,
put that down and say, these are the things that are kind of in our action plan and where we think the priorities are. I look for some feedback from them, if any, so
okay.
that they know.
So how would we do that? How would we share it with the public?
Well, we can do it on the website, we can do it, we can discuss it in the meeting.
Yeah.
Put it out for the next
Yeah.
water
Yeah.
sewage.
You can mention it at the community meeting when it goes up on the website.
And we can even do a wiggle.
Yeah, yeah.
Put these are the five top action items.
Or here are the things that we're working on this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things we're designing, discussing for next year. So we could do that for the May 18th meeting, then have that action item.
Yeah, if you think, yeah, okay.
Is
There's
that
enough time for
seem
that.
reasonable? Because we'll
Okay.
talk about it in the department.
Okay. The one thing
Is there anything on there that?
I was thinking, having our meeting on parking, just get rolling on that, but it could wait till we're not.
It's gonna wait until
Anyway,
mid-May.
but in terms of prioritization, some of these could be easy, just kind of knock them off.
Exactly.
Some of them are gonna be all year and beyond. Yeah. The only other I had
Can I
was,
just say one?
Oh,
other
sure.
thing? This is for you guys to look at as well, and if you wrote something down that we missed, we need all of the department heads to weigh in. That's all.
no, it's better, right? 2B, I'm not sure if something is missing. We need to get more
Oh, yes, I didn't
proactive.
finish that
and-
sentence.
Oh,
Yes.
whatever.
I will finish.
And 5D.
I should know. I know.
Sorry. I have no excuse,
Sorry.
it's nice weather. No, actually, this is very lack of maintenance on business facilities and that always concern. I would say, especially town square and so it's associated parking lots, or it's parking lots. I think we had talked, I just went down my list and I think you guys covered everything. It was covered,
I think they did a good job.
yeah, no, it's got all the things that I had took down.
Did I see someplace there was a plan to have in October?
Yeah, and then what we would do is take this list, do an October meeting similar to what we did, and we'll evaluate how we did on this list and our action items, and then come up with another set or a modified set for the budget season. Because I really want to try to get this tied in very closely to the budget process, right? It's
That was
kind of
supposed
like-
to work, right?
It's the
Yeah.
operations budget
Right,
version of the CIP.
right,
Is the way I'm.
absolutely.
Okay.
Would it be worthwhile to identify a date today? And just get something on the calendar for October?
I think it's too bad. Lord willing, the creek don't rise. I'll be here in October.
Would this help me mentally?
We won't wait until September. But we'll-
Yeah.
Maybe not right now.
Some of the
Oh,
items
the
I want.
planner, I don't know. Should be, I think I'd be such a good planner.
All right, anything else on strategic workshop? Okay, so let's move on to the scenic byway notes, Mark.
Yeah, this was a meeting on the 18th of April that I went to up in Bethlehem. And I kind of went there as like, I gotta go to another meeting, but it ended up being very informative. They did a great plan. And there's this gentleman called Marlon from Sugar Hill who's been driving the Byways Commission in the North Country for the past 7 or 8 years. And he's the guy who helped develop the map that I attached in the packet. And he has a great, they're doing an application to New Hampshire DOT. There's a pot of money for nationally for byways maintenance. And along with that, that includes not just the roads themselves, but the turnouts and signage and everything else. So rather than have each individual town in the North Country try to do a grant application, the North Country Council is working to do a single grant application for the whole region. And it's a $500,000 application, which should help make it competitive for, because this is a national level grant program. Should help us be pretty competitive. There are 27 projects that are on the list that make up the $500,000. But every town hasn't signed on yet. So if somebody drops off, there's going to be opportunities for towns to get in. And there were two things that I highlighted that I think we need to look at our turnouts and overlooks along Route 49 and the Mad River. Because I think if we work with the Forest Service and the Historical Society, there's not any reason why we shouldn't have at least one historical marker somewhere along the river and talk about the history of the town. We are part of the River Heritage Trail in the state of New Hampshire. We need to get our signage squared away. There's actually a couple of faded scenic byway signs that are on Route 49. We need to get those up. And I think that we should work with the Historical Society and try to identify a location and a marker, you know, the verbiage on the marker, what we would, try to highlight.
I think it'd be great to have it like down near the 6 Mile Bridge, because that's where the hike leads to go see the cellar holes and all that kind of thing. Yeah.
And if we could tie the historical marker into the oldest trail network in the country.
Right.
Or something along there,
Right.
and get that, and then we'd be on the state list for the historical markers. I mean, the Robertson Bridge, I don't even know who Robertson was.
You live right there.
Did he live right there?
You
Oh,
live
that's
in one
why.
of those farmhouses right there.
Oh, okay. All right, I didn't know that.
Down
That's
where the
good.
chickens are.
Chicken Borough, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right when you turn off.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that.
So what did he do?
uh,
Do you know?
I think, as far as I know, he was just a farmer there.
Just fine.
But
But he got this huge historical
Marker.
and
Makes you think of
you know,
battle happened
everything
there or
else that
something,
has
right?
gone, everything else that's gone on in town, I'm sure.
Well, one of the things that Tara Bamford, the planning board planner, mentioned, that she was surprised that there were no historical markers in Waterville Valley. As we were going through our master plan and looking at the history section, she thought we ought to do something about that, because we can.
Right.
Legitimately can.
So did I understand you that we're not part of the $500,000?
We're not right now.
So somebody would have to drop out for us to be able to get in.
And they anticipate that several of the projects won't get community support. They just wanted to include them because they're on really important roads, like 302, stuff like that. So, but there hasn't been specific community votes or anything else on those projects. So they don't have any doubt. And we still have to be successful in the grant process. So, but even if we don't get a grant, if we could get the Forest Service to agree to improve one of these pump outs that already exists or something, I think we should consider investing in getting a marker, getting our name out. So maybe I'll help some marketing.
The turnout 3 miles out, doesn't that also connect with the old road to the old cemetery?
Cemeteries, yes, it does.
Yeah, so that's, if you put it at the other end, right at the 6 mile, then there's, you got park across the street, it seems like if you did it from the 3 mile, looking back, there's already a place for people to turn off, read the Bible.
Right.
Right. And we could potentially do maps or something showing people to go up to Drake's Brook or, whatever, to get to to get to the trail system, or, keep going 3 miles in town. And there are several trailheads that we can, we could work it out with the historical society.
Yeah. I would think too that, and I know it's in Thornton, but if you get anything actually by Smarts Brook, that's such a heavily used area.
Yeah.
Pointing people.
Yeah.
To it, or what is up there. Whereas, I agree with you, that means much more convenient at the 3 mile mark, but down by Smarts Brook, we'll get a lot of people to see that.
I really like the 3 mile because DOT has the easement already
So that's a,
from the Forest
So we don't have to
Service,
deal
so we
with that.
wouldn't have to deal as much with the Forest Service problem.
You might have to connect from there to that, the road.
Yeah, the little road up above, but
Yeah.
you could do
It's
it
a
at the
couple
north
hundred yards
end.
apart.
The turnoff. But that would connect, you could do a little path
You know, right.
to the road.
it's the Forest Service that controls the gate there.
I think so.
The gate there.
I think that would
Regular
be,
basis.
I think if you had the state saying that they wanted to put a historical marker, I think we could get the Forest Service.
Speaking of gates, the incinerator, I walk out there almost every day. And somebody must have opened up the gate and tried to drive in there and got hung up in the mud.
Oh, really?
They only went in about 200 yards when it starts to turn a little bit towards the power line.
Yeah.
And this wicked, deep tracks. So I don't know if it's somebody from the Forest Service or what, but somebody.
We
It's
don't
about
have
where
the-
the pavement.
We don't,
Right after the pavement
Right
ends.
after the pavement.
Yeah,
ends,
that's big.
yeah, you're gonna sink, yes.
we don't have the key to that anymore, so thank goodness that the Forest Service.
It must have been the Forest Service.
Yeah.
They didn't get very far.
No,
Yeah.
they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't call us for a tow.
They didn't call us for a tow. That's a good- the other part of our conversation, that I'll work with Brooke, but with all of the work that we're doing with the pedestrian and bike path, there is a bike-friendly community certification that the town can get. And I think that involves putting out bike racks. It involves having bike paths and that sort of thing. But between the mountain biking that goes on here, the road biking down 49, people are always doing, and everything that we're trying to do in the town core, that we ought to try to get that certification. Maybe invest in it.
Yeah. I think Marvin at one time said that, I didn't know this, but that the stretch from exit 28 up to Waterville and back is quite popular as a,
Oh my gosh,
There's a
it's
road
a
bike.
training, it's
Yeah.
a training. mecca.
I see a lot of, I never realized how
Yeah,
popular it was.
there's a bike club out of Camden that does it on a regular basis, go all the way
Yeah.
up.
God bless
them.
So would the bike certification also be part of this same grant thing, or is that?
No, it will
separate?
be separate.
Separate.
Yeah, but I think there's some money at the state tourism that we might be able to leverage to help us.
This may fit into the marketing aspect of our strategic plan, as it were. Some ideas that we talked about marketing being important. Anything else?
No, if you're okay, I'm gonna continue to work on
Just on another similar note, from the on Triple I Road from the Woodstock side.
Yeah.
They've paved in to Russell Pond, and I guess that's about as far as they've paved in. It'd be great to have the Forest Service knock off a little bit of that each year, but
Well, Brooke Brown has mentioned, and I don't know how far they've moved, given the federal budget situation, but they do have a plan to get to the height of the land on our.
boy, that would be great. That's the worst part.
That's the
Yeah,
worst. part.
either, we always said either do that or knock it all the way
Yeah.
back to dirt road.
It'd be
Exactly.
better. It'd be better
Yeah,
not.
either take out all the pavement or keep it all the way to the height.
Yeah.
So that's in their long range plan, but I can call her and find out where
every time you set up.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not. Good. Let's move on to old business then, Stone Tower Lane maintenance.
Joe Driscoll and I had a conversation. I was hoping you would get me an email that I could share with you.
Who's
But
Joe Driscoll?
he's our town attorney.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Mitchell. He is trying to figure out, it is a class 6 road, which means that it's not town maintained. However, I know we plow it, but we're plowing it under the emergency lane statute, not under the road statute. Okay, and because it's a class 6 road, a driveway cut onto it would not be statutorily correct. It's supposed to be a town maintained road when Jim issues
A permit onto
the road for a drive. So it being private, the person that wants to have a driveway onto it would have to coordinate with whoever owns the property, right? That's the problem with this is the town is the entity that owns that section of road. Okay,
That's not a town maintained road.
that's not a town maintained road, but we
Road
are
is
the
not a road.
property owners.
Sorry, okay.
Okay, so, and also the parcel that we own, lot 22, that I highlighted. That is not the actual road. The actual road itself, we went and measured it. The actual road itself is sometimes 10 or 15 feet wider than the piece of land that the town owns. Okay, so there's some of Stone Tower Lane that's on the Powell's property, some that's on, other
Carlisle's
property.
And then
all of
we have some.
Okay, and then it ends right in front of
Terry.
Terry Roper's house, right? It ends right there, and then the rest of it is all just an easement. It all belongs to BBTS. And there's just an easement for the rest of it.
Except for where the town Stone Tower is, don't we own part of that?
We don't own any of the road, we just own the parcel where the tower.
Does the road go across part of?
No, it goes, it's all on BBTS.
So it sounds to me like if Powell's actually owned some adjoining land to the road, because the roadway is wider than what the town owns, then why would we care if they make a cut that goes onto the land that they already own, which is part of the.
Well, I think that's exactly how we should handle it. I think
We're
we
not gonna
should
give you
take
a permit.
Well, no, right, we won't give them a permit, but I would recommend that we take that parcel that the town owns and we split it right down the middle. And we give half of it to the Powells and we give half of it to the Carlisles and Terry Roper, whatever fronts on their property. And then we're done. It's a private road. We can still maintain it as an emergency lane if we want to, right? But then it's there.
That sounds like a good solution.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing I was concerned about in all this is, I don't think there'll be any resistance to taking over part of the road. But I think whether it's a road or a way, we've been plowing it for a very long period of time, and to suddenly turn around and say, well, we want to give you this property, but now it's your responsibility to plow. That doesn't sit right with me.
But even if you didn't do what you're saying, split the land between the Carlisles and the Powells and the Terry Roper.
Yeah.
And the right of way is wider than what the town owns. Then why couldn't the Powells connect to the land that's already that they own it's in the right of way, but it's not the town land.
Yeah,
And
Not
so,
even in a right of
because
way.
it's not, we would have to survey and actually lay it out on the ground.
And then they have to get an easement
Because,
to come
and they
across
would
our
have to
property.
get an easement from the town to cross our land, because there would be some part of that access where they would be crossing town land. Because when you get to West Branch Road, the width of the parcel is almost the width of that opening onto West Branch Road from Stonetown, right, Jim? It's pretty close on that. And so
The other
I
thing
think
the
it's
Powells
just,
could do is buy the whole thing.
well, they could, but, yeah, I mean, they could. Could buy the whole thing instead of adding some of it to the Carlisles, but then the Carlisles would have to have an easement from the Powells.
I mean, there's no easement now
I
either,
think
right,
it's,
for anybody,
there's no easement
for
for any,
the Carlisles,
no,
or,
there's no.
well,
No,
Terry would need an easement from BBTS for her property.
No, she already has an easement. That is an identified easement on the BBTS
Right,
property.
so that's, but the
So
Carlisles
she
don't
could
have
turn right and she could go out. It would have to be if she turned left,
that.
she would need an easement from the Powells.
so what kind of a cost would somebody incur in order to do this investment? You have to have a survey and then.
Well, I would propose that we pay for the survey and we do the deeds. So, I mean, it would be a few $1,000s to do that. But I think from a liability standpoint, because it's a class 6 road, I think it's better for us to just divest ourselves of it and get out of the middle.
We needed a utility easement.
Well, yes, and we have a utility
But
easement.
would we have
already.
brand new?
We probably, but we could do that as part of the transfer. We would just reserve the easement for the sewer and water lines
and still plow it.
and
as an
still
emergency
plow it as an
way.
emergency lane. If that's
But
what
there
the
would-
board wants to do.
So the Powells and the Carlisles would have to kind of cross easements.
Yeah, they just have crossings. Yeah.
And why was it designated an emergency lane? Was the cart before the horse there, or is that what I'm suspecting, correct?
I don't know when we started maintaining it. I would venture a guess that we've been maintaining it since the 80s. And this whole parcel being there was not identified until we did the project when we went to the computerized assessing maps. And they found that nothing enclosed, right? And it created this parcel. And actually, it's leftover land that was never deeded to Tom Cook. Originally. When we got all.
So
So
from a DPS perspective,
from a public safety perspective,
is there a reason why it's an emergency lane? Or emergency,
Because
emergency road?
I think it was to have access to all those properties, was it not?
well, I mean, they could maintain those driveways. Again, it goes back to the fact that we've always.
Right. I hear what you're saying, Margaret. I guess I'm just a little stuck on other taxpayers paying for what essentially becomes driveways.
I think, my memory could be bad on this, but I think it's been in the last 22 years that I've lived here, that there actually was a warrant article that made Stone Power Lane a town, something or other.
No, we had a vote of the board of selectmen
Okay,
that created the emergency.
okay.
Okay.
And when was that?
It was Bill.
I mean, I
so
remembered something about
It,
that.
it was probably 12 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So there's a basis for it being, for the decision, so that's what we need to look
There
at.
was a basis, we can pull those minutes.
That would
Yeah.
help with the decision on. continuing
And there is an
to-
RSA that allows you to take a class 6 road and create an emergency.
Right. But I would, emergency lane, keeping it means not only do we have to maintain it for plowing, but tree falls across it.
Yeah.
Or any other,
Which we do now.
right,
But there was a reason why it came up. And I don't know whether we were plowing it before we made it
Yes.
an emergent, we were.
And I brought it up that we cannot legally spend money on a class 6 road. We can't spend town money to maintain a class 6 road.
Okay.
And so,
So the water line goes through here.
yeah, there's a water. and
There's
sewer.
water and sewer.
Go down the snow zone.
Section of it.
Right.
Going over the
That's your house, you know.
Right.
It goes up by Terry Roker's
Yeah.
and it takes a right and it goes down.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. Where does the line go to the reservoir?
That comes up in Spring.
Huh?
That goes up
West
West
Branch.
Branch.
West Branch.
It goes around.
goes around.
But the water line goes over to High Country.
Well, it certainly makes eminent sense to try to clarify and simplify things by deeding the land, however, you know, to the two property owners, or maybe Terry, if she's got a little bit of it. And then separating that from the question of it's still an emergency lane. And then deciding if that's still the proper.
Yeah, because if they grant easements to each other, you're gonna be in effect creating a class 6 road through there that's on private property. And then it just becomes whether or not to continue as any of these.
Yeah.
Which is an allowed thing for you to do.
I move, we do it.
Okay, so we will start to work with town council to.
On the property
make
transfer,
property
and
transfer.
then we can look at the other questions on based on whatever the decision was 12 years ago.
Okay,
All good. Shuttle bus system agreement, do we want to talk about that? Okay, then later. Update water, so I guess we really talked about the water and sewer projects already.
I can update Margaret.
Margaret, did you, yes, that's your homework.
Yeah.
it's only 200.
We all read it earlier.
That's your-
You only have to read like
Speed reading.
53 pages. of-
Bob read it last night when he got home.
Only 53 pages here is actually relevant. The rest of it is just the permit.
The federal government paperwork.
I don't like that.
Paperwork reduction.
I sat in the meeting going over a 990 this week,
Yeah,
72 pages long, but only the first 12 are really
Yeah.
what the application, everything else is exhibits. Yeah.
So, a little side thing, when I was running Lake Placid, all the other facilities, it was a bureaucratic nightmare. And so the final, I was being recruited to go to Stratton Mountain, and the final straw was I got from Mario Como, I got the Paperwork Reduction Act in 1994. It was about, honestly, God, 2 inches, 2 inches thick.
Right.
And my, the guy that worked for me that ran a Whiteface Mountain, he was sitting in front of me, it was a beautiful day. And he said, I said, you know, I think I'm out of here. And he said, yeah, you know, it's a beautiful day, you should go out and do something. I said, no, I'm really out of here. I pushed the Paperwork Reduction Act in 1990. My apologies to people watching this.
Our federal government is working. Hasn't it? All right, board concerns and directives, folks. I had one very minor thing. Is there room on the Find It Fast link on the town webpage for a link to the select board ordinances? That's all in one. You know, click the link and there are all the ordinances. I mean, I know we have all the permits broken out, but if people wanted to find the noise ordinance right away or the dumpster ordinance right away, it's pretty full as it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that when you click on that link, I don't know if there's room or not, but
We'll definitely look at it.
if you don't mind taking a.
Yeah, not at all.
look at that. Someday we'll resolve Packard versus Packers with or without.
I wish they could see it. we'll solve.
Yeah. We had it both ways in the minutes. We had Packers without, Packers with.
Yeah.
Apostrophe, and there are then those who contend that it's Packard like, operate.
Yeah.
Could you carry on, Margaret?
Sure. All right, so no other board concerns and directives? Okay, how about correspondence?
Yeah, I have 3 pieces of correspondence and, Bob, you're probably familiar, Jim DiPaolo, there at the corner of Game Gulch and Golden Bath Road.
You see the house, it turned out, the house is right
It's on the
there.
right.
Yeah.
So he called me because he's one of the houses that's on the overhead lines.
Yeah.
He's considering putting in a garage. And the problem is the wires go right over the section.
And Chris Beabright leaned on me,
Yeah.
also, same issue.
Right, and so we have been working for 15 years with trying to get the Wyman's to just sign the paperwork with the co-op to let the co-op come on the land and take the pole down that's next to their house.
Yep.
And put those wires underground.
They own the land up in the
Conduits.
corner.
The conduit is already in there, the vault's already in there. Everything's ready to go, but the Winans won't sign the paperwork with the co-op. So the co-op has looked up on Cascade Ridge to come in the back way across the Leeds, or the former Leeds property, out onto Overpath Road and potentially come down that way. But even if they do that, the co-op still needs to access the Wyman property. And because they've got to make the connection and the Wyman's won't let them. So Jim had called and asked, and I told him that, you know, we'll cooperate, the town will cooperate however they need us to, whether it's to do the final installation on Boulder Path Road or whatever. But we've been unsuccessful from the town's perspective to convince the ones that let us, not us, but co-op. So I just wanted to let you know that Jim had called me, that there is another issue, that development is being kind of held.
So has he tried to contact the Winans?
He has tried, Judy Leader has tried multiple times. I don't know if anyone else has, those are the 2 that I know have done it.
You know, I contacted him back 7 or 8 years ago, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, about donating the house for a historical society. He responded to me once.
Right.
That was about it.
And said no.
He said no. I suggested he take the tax write-off.
So
No,
anyway,
nothing we can
just nothing we can do at this point in time, but you know,
Is there any kind of abandoned property statute or anything like that?
we have tried to use that. We condemned it at one point.
Then they painted it.
And then they painted it and went in and did work. And brought it up to the minimum code. So, but that was probably 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So, so we could look at it again this summer. But again, I would anticipate that he would come in and do this.
It's been vacant for 50 years.
So,
Bed record on the porch.
Huh?
And there's a bed record on the porch.
There
Well,
is.
There was.
Oh, there was.
At one time I heard about that.
I'm sure. But just wanted to fill you in that Jim had called. And, be ready to help those property owners because it definitely would assist us if we could get rid of those telephone poles.
And then pay their taxes properly.
Oh, yeah, pays everything, he's got water, sewer, taxes, there's nothing to
Crazy.
do. Yep, okay, but anyway,
So moving to the next bit.
yep, Charles, he seems, it was a very good write-up.
Yeah.
And the Conservation Commission is working on developing some ideas for signs, so I don't know if Eric will talk about that on the 18th or not, but they are anxious to.
One of the boundaries is right in the bridge. The cross-country bridge that goes across from that land over to wonderful place.
Actually, no, the bridge.
You're talking about this bridge here?
This bridge here,
No, Snow's Brook.
it's actually in the national forest, that bridge.
Is wonderful place.
The boundary doesn't go down that far.
Maybe the boundary that's in the bridge is the national forest boundary.
Must be.
And actually, the town owns a little sliver of land on the south side. That lot is actually. a little sliver
Yeah,
of
there's,
land.
actually, they didn't capture that on here. but
It's hard to
yes,
see.
There is this little section.
Right. Very interesting shape,
It's a straighter line than the river,
right?
the boundary.
And it cuts the river, right, goes right across the river and back on. No, I mean, I think it's a great idea to see if there's anything you want to do with that land. And
Well, you know, the pond loop itself, if we could
that needs to
make it marked better or whatever we do, I think that that's going to be the better approach than trying to do something at the east end of the pond and try to do a crossing.
And yeah, looking at, but when we were trying to look about the
Yeah.
level.
Around the level loop, so pond loop could become level loop potentially.
If we can bring it back.
Well, it does come back. My problem is if they develop that the three building residential development there right on the pond, you're gonna get some resistance from new property owners for people walking through their front yards. So that's
Planning board issue.
that may be an interesting planning board issue. They may not like it, but the town owns quite a bit of land. You look at those boundaries.
Oh, yeah.
We
and,
should,
and we-
maybe we should invest in a hard survey and get those markers in.
So I wonder why, now that I'm looking at this, that bridge that I'm talking about, I don't know what the marker there would be. Forest Service owns both sides of the bridge.
Yeah, they do.
There's definitely a marker right in the wood on the bridge.
Really. A boundary,
Something about them.
we'll have to look. Yeah, it may, could it be a survey marker or does it say boundary? It might be a survey. Marker. But why would you put it in the bridge? It's a wooden bridge. When you put a survey, what crazy things happen. Go down to the white birch. With thin rock. It's like, what?
I think it-
Surveyors used to do it.
I think an important part of this would be just settling down the pond loop cross country on that side. Once that construction ends,
Yeah.
and it becomes more apparent what that loop is, and then it gets connected up further. Because I think where he has the strong dotted lines now, that's all going away.
That's correct.
You look at it, it comes
Yes.
out under the bridge, and then we get
This
to,
is,
then it goes onto an undeveloped property as of yet. And then it crop, and then it turns, you know, southeast and then goes into the property where they're building that huge house. But it's the small dotted line is where Pond Loop is going to be.
that's correct. It is now.
In the long dotted line, that's existing.
That's right. On 32B, that's
Right.
gone away. And
But the
but that-
connector still, we still need to connect out to that junction off to the east there.
yeah, but that was established last fall
That was, right,
and they used it all winter. So
right,
I think the trails would be pretty established.
good.
I don't think that
We
that
need to
should
move.
go on.
No, I was
on
gonna say, then we don't need to
town.
move anything, then it gets back to the question. Do we want to put picnic tables or a glade, glade?
There's one high spot, nice,
There is.
high spot right along the river.
Maybe that's,
All right. That might be the spot.
we should encourage them to continue on.
Yep.
All right,
And then the last thing is Janet Stevens, you know, her, what I'm doing.
Newsletter.
for My executive council.
Who did she replace? Was it the
Uh,
guy that passed away?
No, the guy that passed away was replaced in what was the guy's name that Jim defeated?
three, District 3,
Oh, we changed. That's right. We were in District 1.
is that it?
And now we moved to District 3. And I don't know what the redistricting looks like.
I'm wondering about that too, they keep on bouncing around. Everything I've seen so far, I still keep Waterloo Valley.
Grafton County.
Right, and in the second progression of this bill. So far, they don't seem to agree on anything.
Right.
So something came out of the house yesterday. Okay,
Conference meetings.
yeah, and you've already mentioned the Waterloo Valley cleanup.
Yep.
So let me think, anything else? Would someone like to make a motion to go into non-public?
Also moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All righty, thank you, folks.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you for, good night.